So it's time to refresh our data set, isn't it? We've done loads. We built this data set a couple of years ago. It's been a while now. What's the best way to kind of really pick a data set back up and start moving forward again with what it is you're planning to do? Hi, my name's Ross, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel you're watching right now. What I thought we'd look at today is the reality of what happens when you pick up a data set that you haven't been using for a while, because Power BI isn't a one and done solution, is it? It's something that you're going to constantly go back, constantly revisit, and constantly be working to improve everything that goes on. So it's not uncommon to be in this position, but it's a position that we need to be able to cope with, manage, and adapt to. So one of the things that we really want to convey as we're getting through and doing this kind of work is really the reality of your Power BI environment once you actually start to be using it a lot. Okay, so we've got lots and lots of workspaces in our sample environment that we use for demos. And this is what's kind of grown organically over the time. It's not been a case of saying, oh, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's been a case of we've put something in to test something, we've put something in to do that, we've put something in for this. Okay, and we've obviously built a number of these over the times that we've been doing these videos for this channel. So the New York Water Towers is a data set that it comes from New York's open data area. It is self-reported water inspections off the top of my head. Hopefully it's going to come back. Yeah, self-reported water tank inspection results. Okay, we can see it's constantly being updated, which is really what we want. Okay, we want something that's going to be up to date and that we can use, because this is closer to what a real world data set would be. And of course, this is a real world data set. These kind of things are very useful because these are real world data sets. These aren't synthetically generated. And synthetically generated data sets, they have about them. There's a passivity to them. They're not kind of real, you've done what? And that always limits what you can do with them. With these real world data sets like this, like the other ones that we use on this channel, there's a lot more we can get out of it. So if we have a look at it, come in, you can see there's more information about it, telling you how many times it's been downloaded, how many times it's been viewed. Probably tons of those have been me. There might even be somebody in New York going, why does this keep happening? Who's doing this? Maybe they even watch this channel. Who knows? The key thing of this is that what we're doing with this is we're not trying to make this perfect. What we're trying to do is say, right, how do we tackle the problem? Okay, and how do we tackle the problem in a way that is sensible with what we can do? So in the data set, it's a great idea. Have a look, see what's actually happening, see what it says, read the instructions. This is where, have that conversation, discuss, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is what we should do. Read the data dictionary, all those kind of things are what we would do as part of saying, right, we're going to bring this in. The next thing we're doing, the way that we do this is I've got it coming through into a data flow first, and then the data flow is being picked up and used in a semantic model. And the way we've got this is, again, perfectly as we would always recommend. This data flow here is in one workspace and it's being picked up and used in our New York ones here, the water tower here. Okay, it's being used with lots of other ones as well. So we've got imported it once. The ETL processing that we would do has been done once primarily, and then after that we got to the point where we can say, right, we can use this properly now. And within that data flow, so within here, let's see, screenshots. I don't remember how to see this. There's a way to see this, isn't there? Yeah, view lineage. Okay, so we can see this is coming from the text CSV file, which is the New York City source. Okay, so it reads it as a text file, as a CSV file. And then we've got these two spreadsheet sources, which are our Excel spreadsheet that does that normalization work to build everything together. So we've got this one nice little step that does everything we need, and then we check the Excel spreadsheet to manage it. So we want to really review this as part of what we're doing. So we will do this. This is separate to the semantic model. And there's a reason for keeping the two separate. The biggest benefit is that it gives us points to test and points to upgrade and points to work on that aren't one big thing. Because everything that's going on with Power BI and the discussions about DevOps and that kind of thing is around how do we get to the point that we can actually break down the file and work on components within it. And this is one of the things we want to work on the tables. One of the things I like about the Gen 1 data flows, okay, and this is something that I think is really important. I always say to people, I always think of this as like the old days of trains. Okay, so when trains were first starting, they didn't have proper signaling, and you want to have two trains that were able to go on the same track, but there's only one track. What they used to do is give them a physical token. Okay, so a big physical bit of metal to go and hang up on a hook at the other side. And if you had the thing in your hand, you were able to drive your train along the track. Okay, and this worked fine. This was what was really good. And this is what data flows have baked in. So at the moment, you can see this is configured by me. And if I go into the properties, not the properties, sorry, settings, it's got my name. If it didn't have my name and somebody else was working on it or had been working on it, I would have to take over. So there's only ever one person able to work on it. We don't have the disaster that happened with the trains where a clever mine owner decided the sensible thing was to make multiple tokens. So every train driver could have a token to drive. Do you know where that ended up? Bad idea. So control is really important here. So this way we manage, we work through, we make sure this is who gets there. And we can clearly see, this has got my name on it. So Ross is the one who built this. Very simple, very easy, very controlled way of working. Okay. This is what we need to be thinking about. How do we structure and control and manage and protect what goes on, but not do it in a way that's really obtrusive to you. It makes, what do I have to do? Oh, I've got to do this now. If something is super simple, it makes sense. So for me, I need to do something with this data flow. I go in, I need to take control of it. I'm going to have to do something. It's a conscious step, a conscious decision, which is really important. Once we've got this done, the next thing is to say, right, I've got a PBIX file, okay, a Power BI file. And this is now one of those areas we're talking about where we want to be able to split these up and break them down so that we can easily work on them as components. This is what these Power BI project files or Power BI project folder structures are about. And I can show you what this looks like if we exported it as one. I did that earlier just to have a look. But we can walk you through it. It's not difficult to do. But what we need to do is to understand what's actually happening in here. And this is one of those things. Every step along the way, we need to be able to break down and understand what is happening within our report and within our semantic model, because we have to build that data lineage properly so that we can trust and have faith this is what's happened. And what you end up having to do with the data side, because you've got data flows or because you've gone the next step and you've gone into the one lake area or whatever you've got doing your ETL cycling, at that point you have to trust that and be able to understand the lineage of that. With a data flow, we can export the JSON. So we've got the JSON, we can feed that through various engines. We can look at it to say, right, what's actually going on within this data flow? Explain this, break it down. You should be doing that as part of your data flow development, is going through and actually adding comments into the steps. Renaming the steps as well is a big thing. rename the steps, add comments. It all helps to make it clearer what is going on. So we will do that as part of this cycle. We'll go through, we'll actually break down that data flow cycle, say, right, this is where we're doing, this is what's going on with that. Okay. Remembering, of course, one of the things we want to do is to have a look and see if we can work out how can we get rid of this Excel spreadsheet piece, which is the bane of my life with this solution, but it worked, and it's like, this works really well, and it just is unfortunately too good. So when it comes to our semantic models and understanding what's in our semantic model, what goes into it, we need to use a separate tool, okay? And this is really important. You have within here, you've got the info view measures structures now. There's now the new one that's come through. I haven't had a proper chance to test it. It was only really announced in the last couple of days or so. But we need to have a look and see, right, what does this mean? So that was the, it's the field, it's not field promise. So we've got info view tables, info view columns, measures, relationships, and the fifth one now is the user-defined functions. So you can see user-defined function information, apparently. I haven't had a chance to test it. I'm going to wait a bit because I need to probably make sure there will be, I'm sure there's going to be a Power BI desktop update that needs to come through before it's available. But we will check and see as we go through and we build this, because I am now making sure that in every Power BI semantic model I build, we're putting in a data dictionary structure. Okay, so I do need to work that out. I need to get comfortable with it as well, because it's like, do we include this? Do we not include this? And I've done lots of it and then revisited it with different clients and thought, well, what do we do? So I want to get a nice, decent one that I'm comfortable with and that actually fits with, this is what's being used by me, real world, building what we've built. And then we can put that into a TMDL script and make it available to everybody on our GitHub. Okay, so that's definitely one of the things I want to do with this. But here we are. So we've got my Power BI desktop file open. You need to have a tool installed. For some reason it's not on here. It is installed, so I don't know why it's just not appearing here. Well, I'd probably do it. It's not been installed properly with this side of it. But let's see. So we'll go into DAX Studio. Okay, in DAX Studio, just before we go any further, let me just show you. So it's SQLBI.com and have a look under their tools. Oh, wow. See, there's a new one available. Have a look under their tools. I've just seen that there's a new version of DAX Studio available for me, it's saying. You see? Little pop-up thing, there's a new version installed, but not there. Okay, so in Power BI Desktop, sorry, in DAX Studio, once you've downloaded it, you've installed it, which is the problem, you need to get someone to help you install it. There is a way, if you want to, you can get a portable version of it if you want to run that. But I would always say, speak to your IT team, make sure they're comfortable with you installing it. Do not try and use portable ones unless you have no interest in continuing working where you work. Here we go, right, so we've got the NYC Water 2.0 is what we've got. Let's connect to it. It'll bring up, this is the information about your model, okay? Or rather, this is the structure of your model. If we go to the Advanced tab, what we have here is at the top, we have the ability to export metrics. We can also view the metrics. So I'm just going to click Export the Metrics and hit Save over there and say, yeah, export everything. Okay, but what we can also do is we could choose to view metrics. Okay, and it will say, do you want to do that here? And we'll say, yeah. And at the bottom, it shows you this is roughly what you're going to get in your Vertipaq file. Okay, what you do not get in this bit is the ability to view the DAX. So you can't view the DAX in here, which is that's the limitation, as it were. Everything else you can do. So it's very useful if you just want to spot check things. But what we're going to do is we're going to go and say, right, let me open up Vertipaq Analyzer, which is the Excel spreadsheet that you need to download as well. So if you remember, we come back to here, into here, all tools, Vertipaq Analyzer. So we need that as well. Okay. I've opened up Vertipaq Analyzer now. You need to make sure that it's trusted. I trust this file, it's very good. Okay. Come through and say, right, Vertipaq Analyzer, open me a VPAX. I'm going to go to where this one is that I put here, which was here. It takes a while. So it will sit and think about what's in this file. What's the schema of this like? But what you can see here, towards the bottom, if you have a look while we're waiting, got all these tabs here. Okay, encoding, and then off to the further here, I've got DAX expressions, and I think there's one other tab, I can't remember the other one. But this is everything I would generally put in the documentation I was making, like that low-level documentation file that I was going to build about this is what's gone into my report. And how long did it take me to build this, put this together? It was seconds, wasn't it? This isn't difficult. This is where this becomes a game changer. Okay, so we see. So we've got this VPAX file. This is why I would always say, save these VPAX files. They're a pittance of a size compared to the built Excel spreadsheet. So it's definitely worth keeping those and just keeping them. You know, if you need to iterate, say what was approved, I would say, you know, when you bring in your change management process that you've got at work, attach the VPAX to it as proof of publication, whatever's going on. You know, this is what we're going to publish, and then we publish one, put that in as well. So we've kind of submitted, we're going to do it. This is what it is. If it comes down to it and there's an issue between it, you can do bit level comparison of the two. Say, well, you know, are these the two? Is everything the same? We could properly compare it, open it both up in VPAX Analyzer and see. So it makes sense to do, take them, lock them down, because the data dictionary stuff that we build in our semantic model will change as the model changes. So as things are done to it, it will change because it's a reflection of what's currently in it. This is a reflection of what was in the file when we exported it. Does that make sense? Hope so. Okay, so here we go. Right, this is my VPAX file. We've got information about the total size. Okay, so it's saying it's like 12 megabytes, basically is what it's saying. Okay, in reality, it's about 2 or 5 in here. So this is compression. This is where it's kind of really coming down to it. That we need to understand these files are compressed. So the uncompressed size of it is this. Well, it contains 9 tables, there's 9 partitions. Well, there's no real partitioning going to happen in this because this is all just Excel based, really. Partitions relate to big database tables where you split them up to make them more manageable. Okay, so that. So many segments relating to it. Columns is obviously how many columns have you got in total across those 9 tables. We've got that, and we've only got 14 measures. There's no calculate tables, no calculate columns, no calculate groups, no calculations. Okay, all these things, it's simple enough. Okay, and we don't have an auto date time turned on, so we've got no auto date time tables. If you have anything there, you know you've got to turn that setting off on that file at least. What you can see as well, let's just get rid of that, is you can see here is our table view. So this is the table. So you've got, you'll see the red here, RI violation. So this is where you've got referential integrity, that something's not right with it. There's a relationship, join, particular one that hasn't worked. Not all of them in that join, specific points of failure. So 3 points of failure over what we've got nearly 40,000 records of tests, or 60,000 tests, sorry, isn't too bad. I would accept that as okay, we've got blanks that have crept in, just things that aren't quite right. I think the only one that really concerns me in this is I've got one in calendar. Might be worth trying to figure out where that is from or what's going on, but it's probably nothing to worry about at all. It's going to be, there's something in there. Your data model will be fine overall. If this is higher and you're kind of going, well, we've got lots of these, then yeah, at that point, you'd probably want to do something about it. Okay, and say, well, we need to do something. The things to then look at are these, okay, database size. When you're building your models, this is one of the things. If you get your models structured right and well, you have large fact tables, but they are relatively thin. Okay, a thin, not many columns. Okay, because the only things that should be in a fact table in proper star schema is foreign keys and numeric values. Okay, the reality is, and I completely understand, I get it completely, is that I don't think I've ever seen a genuine star schema in the wild. I think there's always been things that have been put in because of we have to have this. Like a classic example is we need to know the invoice number of everything. And if you're building a proper thing and you've got your invoices table, well, actually the invoice number is a primary key of that table. And that's your fact table. We should never need to know it because it's not part of our analysis. But guarantee the business we need to be able to track this as the invoice number and look it up. It might be a case of it's a lookup to your online system. It might be a case of we just want to be able to present them, but we need to do that. So there's wills and reality are two different things, but we always aim for best practice, but we know there's a reality here. So yeah, so you narrow this, which then means that you end up, as they have more rows, they get bigger and they take up more space. So we should see as a percentage of our database size, those should primarily be our fact tables. And if we look, we've got this one here, which are our results, which is where the inspections have taken place. There's 16 variables for each inspection that gets checked. We've kind of got this true, false, good, bad kind of thing going along with it. So that's 40%. 20% is the actual inspection. So we've got kind of a duplicate fact table or a fact table, and this one's a bit of a bridge table, fact table. But that's the structure, and they take up 60% of it. 20% is then the calendar table. That's how compressed this data set actually is. So we've got this structuring with it. Now, oftentimes when you're looking, you're saying, right, we need to make tweaks and improve this. This is where you start, because we'll look and we'll see, well, does the column exist in the table? And you've got columns or tables. You can kind of go with both for these. They both do similar things in that if we expand, say, let's expand results, say, which is a nice punchy one, I know. Oh, it's not going to let me do it, is it? There we go. Okay, so we can see these are the columns that are in there. Okay. I could likewise go to columns here and see, but you can see I don't have a view that's going to let me to quickly and easily pick tables from here. Okay, and that's always going to be a problem, which is where we want here. So we've got this ability, we can piece together, we can understand, right, do these exist, do they not exist? We can also see, well, actually, what's taking up the space in the table. So for here, 99.5% of that table, which takes up 41%, 99% of it, is the link back to the inspections. That's what takes the problem, it makes the problem. I'm pretty sure it's a number, so we should be okay with it, but that's our issue that we've got, okay? So we can see, we piece together everything that goes on. You unpack what happens there, you look through. It might be a case saying, right, well, we can hide this, we can delete this column, this isn't one we need. This is where you start, okay? If you've got high expensive columns with high percentage numbers, those are your targets. What can we do to improve that? What can we do to remove that? And in terms of this, the reality was that by putting it this way, we trimmed down an awful lot of the inspections because we didn't need all the rows for those 16 tests, columns for those 16 tests. And what we've done is we've kind of flipped it. So we go through, we have a table that has I'll show you actually on the model. Let's bring in results. Let's bring in related column tables. And you can see, so results is kind of like it's a link table to link between the inspections and the tests. And the test is just detailing what does this test relate to. And then this is just what's the value for it. So what inspection, what test, value. Inspection, test, value, inspection, test, value. And you have lots and lots of rows of that. So 1.5 million rows of that, I think, over our 61,000 inspections. So there's lots of rows, but it stops it being really wide. It makes it very narrow. and it's just doing lots of lookups. It's not really the most efficient way of doing this. So we need to look and see, is this really efficient the way we want it to be? But this is a solution that I've put in place for it. Let's get back to our VPAQs. Okay. So as I said, over here, right at the end of your VPAQs, after you go through everything in terms of your user hierarchies, your relationships, what relationships have you got, the compression way of compression, how that's affecting your semantic model, you then get to your DAX expressions. And this is where we don't need to document it all. It's all there. But it also makes it really clear for you. Descriptions are really important when we don't have any descriptions here. So we'll make sure we put all the descriptions in. We've got format text in. We've got everything in there. We will go through. We will make this beautiful with our next version. Okay, so what it means then is we need to think about where are we going to put all this? Because that's the kind of the million-dollar questions were. So we know this isn't going to be the case. So what I was thinking is I've already set up some workspaces. So I've got NYC Water 3, dev, I've got dev, let me pin these. Dev, I've got test, and then I was going to have a proper name for production. So we've got New York Water Tower. I think that's the right one, isn't it? Gold. Okay. So we've got these three here, workspaces. And then what I thought we would do as well is I'm going to put these into a domain. So I'm going to put these into my Water Towers domain. Right, now, domains are something, these really are more of a fabric component. These relate to the Azure side, but a lot of security can also be overlaid with domains. So be prepared to start using them. It's something which is, I'm starting to think there's value add in doing it. It will help you classify things, and that we could turn around and assign permissions to a domain to a group of people within our team. So we could have our finance team who've got access to finance stuff. We could have, so it makes sense. So let's do it. From the Azure perspective, yeah, you can start to actually look and monitor billing based on domains as well, which is, anyone will tell you, very useful to be able to know who to bill and cross-charge these things to. So we do that, and then lastly, do the final one. So we do this one. Okay. Here we go. So this is the Water Towers Gold. Right, now this is, I've called it gold. Just because. Okay. So the medallion architecture is something which it's useful to think about it. You have the idea of the bronze layer. It goes bronze, silver, gold. So the bronze layer is kind of the raw data. What's the system produced? Where have we got the original thing from? What's it in when it first is encountered by us? That's the bronze layer. The idea is we should do as much as possible, just lift and shift. Okay, bring those through. That's the bronze layer. We then take that raw data and we curate it. We build something meaningful out of it, which is really what happens if we go back to here. This is really what this is doing. So if you remember, we looked here, we saw the lineage of it, that it had stuff coming from all over, from the spreadsheet and from the CSV file that it got from the New York City stuff. And it's then built two structured tables that can be used for analytics. That's where I would say that's the silver layer. Okay. This is then where I start to digress and diverge from purists and pure data engineering. I understand the difference, okay, but I'm an analyst primarily. I do BI work. This is what I do. We talk about gold. I talk about gold as it is the semantic model, is our gold layer. Gold by definition is all the business logic, everything else around it is the gold layer. And that's a semantic model. There is an argument to say, well, we should be able to take the silver and then add the business logic to it and still have a table, and that's now gold. But then that table has to be put somewhere to be used and be effective for the business to use. Okay, so it's kind of gold, and that's the end of the engineering journey. It would go, and then it becomes part of the analytics suite. If you want, I get it, but yeah. For me, the semantic model is the gold layer. Okay, because that's where we can do our analysis from. That's where product is built from. Okay, so we've got that structure. So we piece that together into here, and this is where eventually we're going to have that, which is why it's called gold. Okay, and then the semantic model is what's going to be here, ready to be used in production. So what we will also do with this is we will be saying the content in here, or the semantic model in here, is going to get certified. Okay, this is going to be where our source of truth is. We will go through this whole process. But how do we get stuff through here? What do we need to do? We need to set up a pipeline, don't we? So what we'll do is we will go through, come back to workspaces. We've got deployment pipelines. I'm going to create a new pipeline. Okay, NYC Water 3.0 2026. Oh. Okay, yeah, next on that. So development, test, production, yeah. Continue create, sorry, yeah. Okay, and then we're going to assign the workspaces. 3.0. So dev. Test. Gold. Okay, so we've now got dev test prod here. Right, so we've built a deployment pipeline. That's really important. So what we've now got and we've done is we've built a development pipeline, or a deployment pipeline, sorry, for it, which will automatically allow us to synchronize the structure from dev, from test, and production. Okay, and one of the things, there's a few things I want to do with this, because there's a few things that are being talked about, and I want to check these things. We'll also look at what I think is a key issue with this structure as we go forward. Okay, but now I think it's probably where it pushed a lot at you. So let's think about that. Let's refresh. What do you think? Okay. The plans are pretty simple. When it comes time to review and revisit things, always properly go through and review your sources. It's always step one. So we go through, we look at the source. Where does this actually come from? Is this still optimal? We look at the semantic model. Is this still right? Do we know what we're doing with it? We can then obviously go forward and look at the reporting content. We haven't done any of that yet with this. But the key thing is always trust what's online. Online is your source of truth. There are too many ways that you can edit content online, as you've shown both with the semantic models. It's happened to me enough times with Power BI files where people have just gone in and edited it because I've got to go into a meeting, quickly do this. Oh, I need to change. Unfortunately, that still happens with the primary files as well. Which I wish it didn't. It does. So the first thing should always be go and download from that file. That's the one that we will use as our source of truth. That's what we will use for our model and for our building. Okay. Hopefully, at some point, it might get to the point where it's not that bad and it's manageable. In practice, reality, I've got to the point where even though I know it's fine, I still download from online and use what's online before I do anything else, especially if it's been like with this 2 years since I've done it. If it's a project where we know we're working hard on it, you obviously can't. Your CDC, your ongoing work, you know you do not have the ability to say, right, let's reset that. And that's something that will hopefully be improving over time. But, big but with this, if we look at the Power BI project file format, and I realize we didn't really have a look at that today. If we look at that, the idea is to separate the schema and the programmatic side from the data. So your large project pieces of work aren't going to be affected too badly by effectively network latency. You know, if you're trying to synchronize a 300, 400 megabyte file, 4 gigabyte file, especially if you're getting up into premium or fabric layers, that's going to be difficult. But the vast majority of that is going to be data. your real world size files or real world schema information for databases, for everything like that, it's going to be a couple of megabytes. So we know that we can get this better if we can separate the two. And that's the point of project. With the new enhanced project files that you're seeing a lot coming through, a lot of this is going to be very difficult to do content about properly because it's such a moving target. But the core thing is always going to be the same. It will always, no matter what you do, be possible to build better reports. That does not mean the reports that you build are not good. The key thing about reports and the key thing about visuals and what we build is they have to be informative first and foremost. The prettiest picture is not necessarily the one that conveys the relevant business information. And that's the piece we have to be wary of. That's what we have to make sure we are delivering at all times for our business. So we will check and see what goes on. But the idea that, oh, we can rewrite this JSON file and have it update this visual so the visual looks 20 times better, I'm not sold on. Okay? I think, yes, you will be able to produce good things, but if that good thing is then really fragile and can't be interfaced or interacted with Power BI Desktop or Power BI Online, as it's now being pushed in as the desktop clients push more into the service, it becomes problematic, I think is probably the right term I can use for it. So we need to have a look at it. But we will, won't we? We'll have a look, we'll see. Big use cases often being put there is, oh, you can use AI for it. So let's try, we'll have a look. We can put it into Copilot and see what does Copilot build from that. We never know. It might be good. So I hope that's helped. I hope you can kind of see, right, this is how I tackle, this is what we should do as we tackle these projects, but also recognizing that just like this New York Water Tower has been in place since 2022, 2023, I think, running. I think the last update we did was 2024. Haven't touched it since. I'm able to go and pick something up that's been running quite happily for a couple of years and make tweaks to it. That's the point, isn't it? That's what a data project is about. It's not been something that we've tinkered with and I have to touch every day and do stuff with. It runs. Even like the worst one I've got in my library at the moment, which is the park run stuff, which is still, I need to manually just trigger it each day. It's a weekly thing and it takes me 2 minutes a week to do, and then it runs itself. It's kind of hit go on it. And there's reasons behind it. And it's because with it being effectively a screen scrape, it needs to run and I need to make sure it's run. So it's kind of, you manually target it when you've got some time, check back every now and again, that's run, that's fine. And it shuts itself down, triggers everything else and runs itself. Brilliant. 2 minutes. And that's the bit I'm going, that's really terrible. I remember when my daily tasks list was half an hour to an hour daily to check the reports, do everything, make sure everything was built and sent out. I'm complaining now about 2 minutes a week. That is where Power BI becomes powerful. Anyway, enough about me, enough about everything. You guys stay safe, take care, ta-da.